You're listening to Change Your POV Podcast, episode 134.
Wow, what a waste. And usually audiobooks or Kindle books are cheaper as well. So.
Yeah, and I don't have the Kindle the tablet, like the thing that you buy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't have to.
Now, I got it on my phone, and the first book that I got on Kindle was that book from Marcus Luttrell, The Lone Survivor. And I was like, I really wanted to read it.
Change Your POV Podcast is dedicated to helping veterans become as successful outside of the military as they were when they were in. In the military, we all became skilled at adapting and overcoming. We made the best out of whatever we had at the time. It wasn't always pretty, but we got it done. Many of these skill sets and tools were handed down from one generation to the next. Regardless of where they came from, having the right tools and resources makes all the difference in the world. This week, Bennett and I discuss our top 10 tools and apps that we used to stay productive and on top of our game in 2016. Hope you enjoy it.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Change Your POV Podcast. I'm your host, Eddie Lazary.
And I'm Bennett Tan.
And today we're talking about the 10 top tools that we used in 2016. I've come up with 5 tools. Actually, I use more than 5 tools, but I had to narrow it down to 5. And Bennett did the same thing. And I'm going to talk about my 5, and then Bennett's going to talk about his 5. And
let's alternate.
Oh, let's do that. Yeah, I'll share one, then you'll share one, so we'll get to 10. Good idea. So and again, folks, all of the so I don't have to repeat myself. All of the links to all of these apps and things that we're going to talk about are going to be in the show notes page for this episode. So go ahead and don't worry about having to pull out a pad of paper and a pen and taking notes here. It's all going to be in the show notes page for your convenience, your ease of effort. Ease of effort.
The whole point of an app.
That's right. All right, so I'm going to do one, and again, these are in no particular order. This isn't like my number one most used or most whatever. I just wrote them down, and this just happens to be the first one on my list. So it's called Trello, and if you've never heard of it, it's Trello. It's an app. It's a free app there's an app on the phone, but I use it mostly on my desktop. And it was introduced to me initially by my mastermind group. It's what we use to capture, anybody in the mastermind group has their own card, and they go and they put their biography and what online businesses they're working on, and things that they need help with that maybe perhaps other members of the mastermind group can help them with. And then there's notes for what we covered in that particular meeting. There's notes for what we might want to cover for future meetings. The link to the Google Hangouts that we use to do our weekly mastermind is in there. You can put files in there, hyperlinks, videos, download files. I mean, it's all in there. It's just and the ways you can use this thing is incredible. So what I've done is I've created a Trello board, and the link will be in the show notes page that you can go in there. You may have to sign up with a free account. But you can go into this link that I'm going to provide you, and it's basically a mock Trello board where you can go in there and just play around with it. There's some tutorials in there, some how to get started, how-tos in there. Just go in and play around. You're not going to break or hurt anything if you want to go in and check it out. And whatever you do in there, whatever you create, just leave it in there so other people can go in there and play around with it and add and change and do whatever to the content that you've created in there.
Leave us a message,
yeah.
Leave us a question.
You can create to-do lists. You can do, there's like a calendar feature in there. It's really, really powerful. So yeah, go check it out. If you've never heard of it, it's basically a productivity tool. So if you're looking for some easy way to manage whatever you've got going on in your life. Maybe you want to manage your schoolwork if you're taking night classes or going back to college, or you've got a side business that you want to keep track of something, or maybe you have a to-do list, shopping list or whatever. You can use it for whatever you want to use it for, and the videos in there will give you many different great ideas of how you can utilize Trello. So if you're looking for an excellent productivity tool going into 2017, highly recommend Trello.
So my first one is Udemy, which is an online education app. I mean, it's also available on your computer, which is where I do most of my stuff. But you get on there and take classes from, world famous people, mm-hmm. To teach you how to do whatever you really want to learn how to do. I mean, it's basically the world's largest destination, single point destination for online courses. And it's really aimed at professional adults, professional learning new skills, everything from how to write a resume better to how to, meditate, how to, I think Seth Godin, if you've never heard of the online MBA course that he's put out, mm-hmm. I think he's got portions of it on Udemy.
Oh, really?
Gary Vee also has a 4-hour course on there about branding yourself and stuff like that. And I just have found it completely invaluable. It's great. I've taken a public speaking course on there. And the thing that's so cool about it is at the end of the day, if you want to ask the instructor questions, you can. Mm-hmm. At any time, it just emails it to them. Most of them are pretty good about getting back to you. I've never had an instructor not get back to me. And these are, professionals themselves. So that's the other thing that you can do too, is that if you have useful information that you think the world might like, is you can become an instructor on Udemy as well.
Right.
So Udemy. Yeah. Check it out.
And it's not
Udemy, Udemy.
Right. And it's not, there's stuff in there for anybody.
Computer programming, app building, you name it.
Yeah, crocheting, yeah, you know what I mean?
It literally is everything. Well, let me just pull it up. Writing a complete Java developer course, an entire MBA in one course, blah, blah, blah. Some of that stuff's kind of hokey, but the power of the mind and health and healing.
Yeah, so all these courses, the courses are broken down into categories, right? So you can kind of sift through and search for whatever you're interested in.
How to use Google AdWords, how to,
yeah,
the Unreal. Yeah. Has anyone ever heard of the game Unreal?
No.
Or how to make games, things like that.
Oh, app development.
Well, no, it's like an actual game, developing an actual game.
Oh, like an Xbox game.
Yeah, or something along those lines. More, but PC. So it's literally, some of these classes are 20 hours long. Some of them are an hour. It just depends.
Yeah.
It is not free. Some of them are free, but it's usually that's like a gateway course. Mm-hmm. But anyway.
That's cool, man.
Move on. It's a good one. Check it out.
My number 2 is Audible. And folks, we've talked a lot about Audible on the show. And if you have any longtime listeners of the show, you know that we are very avid Audible consumers. And Audible has, over 180,000 titles to choose from, genres from, self-help.
It really is crazy.
It's, literally anything on there you want to listen to, you can listen to. They got fiction, nonfiction, novels. It's incredible. And so I definitely have this on my list because it's something that I don't know if there's rarely a day goes by that I don't listen to something on Audible, because I got an hour commute to and from work. There's things that I do, like last weekend I was changing the brakes on the car and I just had what's that Bluetooth, the jam box, if you know what a jam box is, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like the Bluetooth remote speaker. Yeah. So I just connected my phone up to the jam box and threw on my audiobook and just was listening to an audiobook.
And then the kids run away.
Yeah.
It's a way to, so like whenever I do it, like my kids are like, okay, we're out of here.
Yeah.
You know, if I was listening to music, they might like hang out and like dance or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So if I need to get rid of them, I just put an audiobook on and they're out.
And that's the thing is some people would rather listen to music, but to me, now again, I'm going to sound like a Nazi here for a second. I would much rather listen to a podcast or a book than listen to music. And it's not that I don't like music. I do like music, but for me, listening to music is an unproductive use of my time. Does that?
All I think about is stuff that I have to do, or so like my mind is being productive while I'm listening to music, but yeah, I'm still not. Yeah. I'm not absorbing anything. Like I want to learn something. So actually, you know what it was is for me with Audible, the thing that put me over the edge on, yes, I'm committing to this fully, was when I heard General Stanley McChrystal talk about how when he goes on his runs by himself, he listens to audiobooks.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, well, if he can run to it.
Right, yeah.
I can listen to it whenever. And now I don't really listen. Once in a while, I'll listen to like Pandora if I just have to. You know, sometimes you just have to shut off a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's for me. When I'm working out, like I can't do an audiobook or a podcast when I'm working out. That's when I do listen to music. For me, like when I'm going on a run or.
See, I don't.
When I'm at the gym.
I listen to audiobooks now. I'm like in it.
Yeah, I just like listening to music when I'm working out because I don't know. That's just me.
Not at the gym though, because there's usually somebody talking to me or whatever. But at like if I'm out on a walk or doing sprints or something, then it's an audiobook or a podcast.
Nice.
It's just great, but it is what it is.
So if you want to check it out, folks, you can. Again, the link's in the show notes page. But if you're just curious, you can go to changeyourpov.com/freebook. And when you are there, it'll take you to Audible, and you can sign up for a free 30-day trial and a free audio download.
I have a buddy who keeps doing that. Like, he'll like do it, and then he'll listen to a book.
Yeah.
And then he'll like disenroll. Yeah. And then like 3 months later, you think, I thought they had like an algorithm that would pick that up.
I think
he can't do it every month.
He probably changes his email.
Something gets changed. Yeah. He's a dirty little bastard, and cheap as hell. Yeah. But anyway, so he gets like 5 free books a year.
To me, that's not even worth it. The time and trouble.
But he doesn't listen to them like we do either.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yep. All right. What's your number 2?
Kindle. Goes right along with Audible. Thank you, Amazon.
Yes.
And it's just because, especially with me over the last 2 years, on this whirlwind tour of the East Coast, moving from New York to North Carolina to Florida to Delaware, and now back to New York. When you have boxes of books, it really sucks to move those.
I bet.
That made Kindle my best friend, and literally downloading. I do have a Kindle, and my daughter uses it mainly because it's like a tablet, but I use the Kindle app on my phone.
Yeah, me too.
So if I'm on a plane, if I'm, even at work, like on break, and I'll pull out my Kindle, especially if you get a good book, you know how that is. It's just in it. And I just read it right on my phone. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's amazing. You don't have to carry it around. I mean, you're carrying your phone anyway. You don't have to carry all kinds of extra crap. Now, obviously, you might want to go like certain books that you just want to be able to reference over and over and over again. Technically, though, you can do that on Kindle as well because you can highlight things and stuff like that. But sometimes you just want it in your hand.
Right.
But Kindle, man, it really just kind of, it just frees up so much space in your house, so much, whatever. I mean, because books, think about your bookshelves. You could have like, I used to have like 5-6 bookshelves that were chocked to the gills, man, like full.
Wow.
And, wow, what a waste.
Yeah.
And usually audiobooks or Kindle books are cheaper as well. So.
Yeah. And I don't have the Kindle like the tablet, like the thing that you buy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't have to.
Now I got it on my phone, and the first book that I got on Kindle was that book from Marcus Luttrell,
Lone Survivor.
The Lone Survivor. And I was like, I really wanted to read it. And so I got it, and I was like, man, I was kind of real hesitant about being able to read. Like, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to read this whole book on my phone. And I got like the small iPhone 4 or whatever. Like my wife has the 6, the larger one, which I can't do a big phone like that. It's like putting a phone book to my ear. I just can't do it.
Yeah, she's got the 6 Pro or whatever it is, the big one. Like I have a 6S, and it's not that much bigger than the 4.
Oh, okay.
It is. It is in phone terms.
Right.
I say that with air quotes, but I'm not rolling around with like Zoolander.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what Eddie looks like. When I pick up his phone, I'm like, holy shit, it's a Zoolander phone.
But I actually read the entire book on my phone, man. Very quite effectively, awesome. Too. Yeah. So you're right. You can ear.
And you can make the print bigger. You can make it, whatever.
Yeah. You can earmark the pages, so you can easily come back and find your page. You can, You can highlight, like you said. You can put in notes, like you tap.
And I don't want to beat it all to death. But like with Audible, where you can do the membership where you get like a credit a month or 2 credits a month or whatever, depending on how much you spend.
Yeah.
There's a thing, and this is not a lot of people know about it. It's called Kindle Unlimited.
Oh, really?
So it's kind of like Prime for Amazon, but it's Kindle Unlimited. And what Kindle Unlimited allows you to do is have access to like 8 or like 10,000 books.
Jesus. Wow.
All the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you check them out kind of like a library.
Oh, okay.
So you're allowed to have like 10 of them on your device.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're done with one, get a new one and it'll just bump. Huh. It'll bump it out. You know what I mean?
That's pretty cool.
It's called Kindle Unlimited. I think it's like $9 a month or something.
Wow.
If you're an avid reader, like my wife, like we have it mainly because of my wife. Because here's the little twist and catch to that. This is the attack part of this. Some of them are what's called whisper sync, voice enabled. And what that allows you to do is to actually get it an audio version as well on Audible.
Oh, really?
So you got to dig for it a little. But it can be worth it because some of them are like, it's like really good books, but there's an Audible version as well that you get for free because you're part of Sync. So you gotta dig for it. But just any questions, just email me and I'll hook you up.
That's cool. I didn't even know that.
Yep.
Nice. My number 3 is Workflowy, and I hate the name. It's Workflowy.
Pretty ridiculous.
It is. I just found out about this tool, and I told my wife about it, and she's like, "Oh God, that name's terrible." Yeah, but it is Workflowy. It's a very terrible name. But what it is, you could oh my God, I can't even describe it. But you write notes, and you can like if you take notes and you make like a bulleted list, right? Indented bullets and things like that. Well, every bullet that you create, you can drill down, and it'll open up.
How is it different than like Trello though?
Because it's way different.
Way different. Okay, I was just wondering.
Yeah, man, way different. And what's really cool,
I still haven't looked at it. You sent me the link.
Oh man,
I haven't had time to get on and look at it. I'm excited about it. Not so excited because the name is wicked gay.
Yeah,
but you are raving about it. So
oh my God, it's like one of those things where when you find it, you're like, oh my God, where have you been my whole life?
Right. And that's what you said. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, dude, this is incredible. Like,
now, did you ever use Evernote?
Yes, I did. Evernote, I just, for whatever reason, People
just didn't work for you.
Well, people that use Evernote, they just rave about it. Like
It didn't work for me, though.
It didn't work for me because it was just, I don't know, man. It was just too many bells and whistles, and I couldn't find shit.
Right. So does this kind of fill that gap for you?
Oh yeah, man. This is
Okay.
It's clean, it's simple. It has the bells and whistles that I need and nothing more. You know what I'm saying?
And that's cool.
Yeah.
So
keeps it.
Yeah, that's the thing with Evernote is I found I got really confused with stuff.
Yeah. Well, not only
And
that,
people
but
are probably like,
yeah.
how the hell that happened? But no, it's just some things work for people because it's the way we think.
Yeah. Right.
So
yeah, and my biggest problem is like this workflow is a productivity tool, right? And the whole point of being productive is getting things done more efficiently and faster,
or like
so you can
actually getting shit done.
Right. And what I found with Evernote is I would just get sucked into the
became a full-time job
trying to figure out how this works and how do I incorporate this and how do I add this and
learning curve.
Yeah, it's a learning. But I spent 90% of my time trying to learn the app instead of 90% of my time being more productive. So it's it was counterintuitive to my productivity. So this tool, it gets right down in the business. And what's nice about it is you sign up for it, and there's all kinds of really short tutorial videos that really break down how to use it. You know, the powers of it. There's a tagging feature. There's a searching feature. There's you can star pages. You can drop in URLs, links to things that are hyperlinked.
Right. I mean, I like the fact that their motto is organize your brain.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. And like you said, I think certain tools just really just click for some people, and other tools
it's
don't.
Like I gave Evernote a full month.
Yeah. Yeah, I did too. And I couldn't do it.
It just didn't. It just became more.
I had it on my desktop. I had it on my phone. I had it, and I just couldn't. But this Workflowy is a desktop and an app. You can have it on your phone as well.
Yeah, just so cool.
And it's free. Well, you get 200. You can add up to 250 items per month for free.
Wow.
Which is a lot. But because it's brand new, I went and I filled it out, like all kinds of like podcast episodes and like okay. So I got to that 250 mark within a couple of days, just because I went from zero to just filling it in. But I can easily see how once you have it pretty much kind of filled in with the stuff you want to track and make notes on or whatever. Like for example, all of the show notes for this episode, I'm looking at Workflowy right now. I've got everything bulleted out. I have my top 5, your top 5. And I'm going down the list and making notes about what we're talking about. And I think this is going to make the post-production portion of this podcast much easier. So that's what I'm going to really focus Workflowy on is incorporating it into the post-production and the productivity of the Change Your POV podcast. So I'm excited about it.
So speaking of productivity, my next app is a simple one that comes on everyone's phone. You don't have to dig for it. You don't have to look in the iTunes store for it or Google Play or whatever app store you use. It's literally already probably 99% of the phones sold probably have an app called the Voice Memo app. Mm-hmm. And there is probably better programs out there, better apps out there to do this. But like you just said with Wordflowy, this has everything that I need it to have. I mean, you can even edit on it if you need to. Okay. So it's just literally when I'm driving or I'm somewhere. So instead of carrying a pad of paper around with me, which I do, sometimes I jot things down. But when you're driving, you can't write stuff down. And I drive 2.5 hours a day minimum. So if I'm driving and I have a bright idea, which is scary, but if I have an idea, I pull out, just grab my iPhone, I hit 2 buttons and I'm in and I'm talking live to my phone. And then I'll go back and look at it or pull them up and write stuff down later if I need to. Or like I have told you in the past, Eddie, I've got stuff in there from like 3 years ago that I'll like turn into a blog post or turn into an attack episode.
Right.
Or turn into whatever, it's just you're recording your content, recording your thoughts, recording good, solid info. Or if it's crap, sometimes it turns out where you listen to it later and you're like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Right.
Or what was I talking about? Because it's just jumbled idiocy. So, and then you just delete it and it's gone forever. You're not adding to a landfill. You're,
Yep.
just doing good stuff with that. So that's seriously look at all your apps on your phone and pull it up, have it ready and available, and boom. Bright ideas just get recorded.
Well, what I like about it is it never fails. It never fails. I'll have an idea and I'll be like, oh my God, that's a great idea for a show or for a blog post or for a speech for Toastmasters or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, there's no way I will forget that. I'll write it down when I get, stop to where I'm going. Then I'll get to where I'm going and I'm like, oh fuck!
How many $1 million ideas have you lost?
Like, oh my God! Like I'm like sit there and like racking my brain. It's like you get that, that thought like on the tip of your brain and you just can't recall it.
Gone.
You know what I mean? And it's just like gone. I'm like, oh.
Into the ether.
That's right.
It's because you sent it out into the ether and somebody else just picked it up and ran with it.
Right.
So now this is a way for you to record that.
Yes,
folks.
exactly.
Simple stuff.
And if you don't need it, delete it.
Yeah.
It's better to have, it's like I used to tell my guys when we get ready to go to the field, right? They're like, what do we need to bring? And I was like, listen, we have a Humvee. So it's not like we're carrying it on our back. Now, if you're light infantry, you've got to make some really, you got to be selective, right? You're not
got to make some decisions.
Yeah, but you're going out to the field in a Humvee. It's like, dude, bring it. We got room for it. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it,
Yeah.
But same thing, right? Record it, get it out of your head. If it turns into a great idea later, great. If not, I mean, there's some times where I'm like, oh my God, this is such a great idea. And I'll record it. And then like a couple of days later, I'll go back and I'll listen to it and I'll be like, what was I smoking? Like
what? This is so stupid.
Like, what the hell was that all about? But yeah, man, that's cool. My next one is Clamor. It's spelt Clammr. And a lot of people have never heard of this before, and I'll briefly kind of describe what it is. It's a way where you can capture and share audio, because the written word has a shareable platform called Twitter. The picture medium has an app, a shareable app called Instagram, and video has a platform where people can go and load and share video, and that's called YouTube. Well, the one medium that's really missing from the equation, and that's audio. And so Clamor is working to fill that gap. So Clamor is to audio what YouTube is to video and what Twitter is to the written word and what Instagram is to photographs. And it's just a way for me to create what's called Clamors. They're 24-second little clips of any audio, and it could be audio from music on your phone, it could be audio from podcasts, it could be audio from whatever. You create these Clamors, what they're called, 24-second clips, and you can share them. You can share them on social media. So if you ever go to Change Your POV, the Facebook group or the page, Change Your POV Squad, and you see an image of like Change Your POV podcast, and it's got the little moving waves. It looks like a audio wave signal that's kind of bouncing or whatever. And you click on it and you can listen to like a 24-second audio clip. That's Clamor. Right. And it's incredible. You don't have to have a podcast to use it. If you are a podcast listener and you really enjoyed a particular section of like a quote that somebody says or some piece of information that somebody says in a podcast, you can actually find that section in the podcast and capture that 24-second audio clip and share it around with your friends and family. So it's a really cool tool. So if you never checked it out, I highly recommend you go and do that. And again, all of the links will be in the show notes.
Awesome. So my next tool is Overcast, which is a
Overwatch.
Is it Overwatch or Overcast?
Oh, hold on.
I'm sorry. Overcast.
It's Overcast. I wrote it wrong. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So it's Overcast. Overwatch is like a gaming platform or something like that.
Right, yeah.
Overcast FM. Overcast.fm. That's the website, but I'm talking more about the app. So it is a aggregator. Is that right? It's not an aggregator. It's just a way that you can listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a podcast aggregator.
And it works better than the only one that I've ever used other than Overcast is I tried Player FM and I just didn't like it. But then the iTunes podcast app is, I mean, that's the big daddy on the block.
Right.
Right. So it works. Yes, it works. It does what it needs to do. But I find that Overcast is way more simple and has a couple little bells and whistles that if the iTunes podcast app has it, I haven't explored it enough to find them.
Right, me neither.
But like Smart Speed, things like that, Voice Boost, and just what I like about, you can, I guess you could call it a smarter playlist. So you can like create like priorities for your shows, like what you want at the top, filters, sorting, ways to, it just, I find it just more user friendly and just better.
Yep.
And I didn't give it as one of those things until about a month ago. I really, I just kind of, because you use Overcast exclusively pretty much, right?
Yep.
And I pretty much use the iTunes one exclusively just because it's what I knew. But since I've been using Overcast, I almost called it Overwatch, Overcast full time, I'm just like, wow, this is so much easier, especially when you're like driving your car and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And you want to switch over, shit. You're sitting there looking through the iTunes one. It's like you're going to get into a car accident. You might as well be texting and driving.
Yeah, exactly.
With the Overwatch, it's literally like 3 buttons and you're on to the next thing.
Yeah, like you said, you can create playlists. Like I've got a playlist for military podcasts. I got a playlist for online marketing podcasts. I got one for, I don't go too crazy with playlists, but I got like 2 or 3.
At least there's a way to organize them.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I don't know of a way that you can organize the other one.
No, I don't
which is
either.
Huge. So literally, I do the same thing. So it's like if I have business podcasts. I've got like history because I listen to some podcasts that are like history, like Dan Carlin and some things. I've also got the Mike Rose podcast.
Oh yeah,
and on that one too, which is a fantastic podcast.
It's called
Nice, Quick, and
what's it called? That's the way I heard it.
That's the way I heard it, and Mike Rose, great. He's great. So anyway, use Overcast. Overcast.fm or, get on your iPhone or your Android and type it in, find it. It's way better to use. I mean, there is a little bit of a learning curve, but it's like an hour and you'll be an expert.
Oh yeah.
So
if you listen to podcasts on the iTunes
well worth it
app, then if that's the only aggregator you're using is the actual iTunes podcast app, highly recommend you give Overcast a shot. And like you said, you got to kind of abandon. You can't try to do both. You got to give it its due, right? You got to commit to like 30 days of just doing it.
Correct. But you won't go back.
You won't go back.
I pretty much guarantee.
Yeah. Once I finally because that's what I did. I heard somebody talk about it on a podcast, this Overcast app, and I'm like, oh, let me give it a try. And I dabbled around and I poked around at it, but I didn't really fully commit. And so at first I was like, it's not for me. Yeah. But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to just completely delete all of my podcasts out of the iTunes app and just move them over to Overcast. So it forced me to use it. And oh my God, dude, once I got on there, I'm like, holy shit. I actually went back to iTunes after about 4 months of listening to everything on Overcast. I went back to iTunes just to, and I was like, oh my God, it's like one of those things like, You know, when the iPhones first came out, like I stuck with my flip phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had my flip phone forever.
For sure.
And I was, as long as I had my flip phone, I was fine. I saw other people with these smartphones, and I was like, oh, whatever. But
And I fought that shit for
but
ever.
as soon as I got my first iPhone, like there was no going back to a flip
Where have
phone.
you been my whole
Yeah,
life?
there was no going back. No way. Well,
It's like it's like this is a mobile office.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Overcast is the same way. Once I got on it, man, there's no way I can go back to iTunes. There's just no way. So, and that leads me to my fifth and final one. It's bullet journaling. And I actually did a podcast episode, another attack episode about bullet journaling specifically, episode 116, and the show notes, the link to that will be in the show notes. And I'm not going to get into the specifics right now about how all that works. You have to go and just check that out over at changeyourpov.com/episode 116.
Yeah, that's kind of in depth.
It is. But it's
pretty badass too.
There's a great how-to tutorial video in there from the creator of bullet journaling, and that's what I use. I still use it, and it's been the only journal / to-do list / scheduler that I've ever been able to maintain for longer than a month. And it's been 4 months now, and it's been going strong. So highly recommend you go check it out. Bullet journaling. It's awesome.
All right. So my last, fifth and final is some people are going to be like, duh. But I wanted to put it on here because I am for sure it's my most productive app. Because I use it to communicate. I use it to do business. I use it to send video. I use it to do so much, and also spread my message for Change Your POV and good information that comes my way. And it's the fastest and easiest way to get it out there, and that is Facebook.
Boom, Facebook.
Boom, Facebook. And people, a lot of times it's like, well, it's just Facebook. Facebook is probably the most powerful tool on the internet. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
If you use it correctly. And, some people might say I'm kind of spammy or whatever, but you know what? There's not much that I don't put out that doesn't add value. And that's kind of the point. If it doesn't, I look at this, if it doesn't add value or isn't going to make you laugh, I don't post it usually. I'm not somebody that gets on and posts, anything about Trump or Clinton or the election. And I don't get real political on it. I focus to business, personal interaction. Basically, it's like online networking for me. Mm-hmm. And I focus on trying to add value to other people, give them information that they don't know. Things like that. Like if you look on our Facebook feed every day, Eddie, I've told you about it, but there's I'm a big history buff.
Yep.
So I've got it set up where what happened today in history.
Yeah, I saw that.
We'll post on Change Your POV's Facebook page every morning at 6 a.m.
That's awesome.
And I read it myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. It's badass. That's just kind of stuff that's like, wow. Now, if you use that and think about it as a tool, how many conversations could you start with, hey, did you know that today, somebody did whatever? You know what I mean? Or today's like Michelangelo's birthday or just stuff like that. Mm-hmm. If you use it the right way, pretty cool stuff. So, those are the types of things. Eddie and I are both members of a board of a nonprofit, and we actually have our meetings using Facebook Messenger's audio, like their phone capability.
Right.
That's how we do our meetings, mm-hmm. our board meetings. Because we just found that the other ways are trying to do it with Skype or Zoom or any of those. It didn't work for us that well. So this is a great way to do that. The live capabilities now with Facebook are, if you are a business person or a marketer or whatever, even just a regular person trying to share stuff with their family. It's an invaluable tool to afford people real time look into who you are, what your business does. Pretty amazing stuff.
And it's like most things in life, right? It is what you make of it.
Correct.
It's as valuable and as useful of a tool as you want it to be.
Don't get caught into the Facebook black hole of bullshit. Right. Like, I mean, I'm going to flip through my stream now. I mean, that's the other thing. You can filter that shit out.
Oh yeah.
You just have to find it. But like, I'll go through, and most of my stuff is pretty freaking motivating. And I've made it that way on purpose. But you get some of these sponsored stuff that's like, I don't care. But you know what? Don't get sucked in. Just move by.
Yep.
That's
very cool, man.
Go Army.
Well,
Go Army.
Go Army. Beat Navy.
They already did. So.
Hell yes.
We don't watch football or anything, but it's crazy.
No, it was all over. So speaking of social media,
it was all over it.
Oh yeah.
I have dual citizenship. So
yeah, that's right. Because you yeah, because the Marines are. That's right. Marines would root for the Navy, right?
They're the men's department of the Navy. But yet they're still part of the Navy.
Does the Air Force even have a team?
Yeah, hell yeah. They were really good last year.
Like nobody even talks about that.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Air Force. But anyway, but Army hadn't won in 14 years.
Yeah, wow.
So, and then they won. That was a great one, though.
I think Coasties have a flag football team, don't they?
Maybe. They play actually on a barge. Floating water. It's like a mix of football and water polo.
Yeah, that's for our good friend Travis Collier.
Yeah, baby. And Daryl Fusaro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Daryl is a coastie. Huh?
He's a coastie. He's our token coastie.
All right, folks. I hope you got some value out of this week's Attack episode. Actionable tips, tricks, and coachable knowledge. This is our top 10 most productive, useful, helpful tools of 2016. Again, these aren't everything that we used in 2016, but
it's a lot of it.
Yeah, these surface to the top, right? What is that cream rises to the surface or whatever? All right, so come check it out. Again, you can find all the links to everything we talked about over at the show notes page for this episode at changeyourpov.com/episode 134. Never miss an episode. Hit subscribe on your podcast player of choice. And our podcast player choice is Overcast. We have a lot more great content headed your way. Come be part of our community over at Change Your POV Squad Facebook group. We'd love to see you there. All right, folks, until next time. Thanks for listening to this week's Attack episode, where we share with you actionable tips, tricks, and coachable knowledge. We hope you are able to use some of these tools and apps to help you become more productive today and well into 2017. If you like this episode, chances are you know someone who would like it too. Go ahead and share it with them. Not quite sure how to do that? Well, you're in luck. I made it really easy for you. Just head on over to changeyourpov.com/share. All the instructions are there just for you.